President of the Money Lenders Association, Benga Adelekon, has warned that many Nigerian micro, small and medium enterprises are damaging their future by accumulating negative credit histories. Speaking with Nan, Adelekon stressed that credit health is a business passport, not just a financial record, and that reckless borrowing now can block future funding. He noted a disturbing trend of MSMEs and individuals moving between loan apps, leaving unpaid debt that tarnish their credit profiles. With most licensed lenders now reviewing credit reports before disbursing funds, defaults sharply reduce the chances of securing future loans. We have with us Seyi Ashagun, CEO, MD, Entourage Integrated Trust. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. For MSMEs and individuals, what makes a good credit profile and positions them for more capital?
I think it's accountability. One, they need to be accountable, they need to build systems, and they need to have a structure. Lenders will trust you when you're accountable. When they need stuff for you to be able to be assessed, you're able to give them what they necessarily need. And when they come to assess your business, you have all that it takes. You have good credit score. You should have good credit score. And then your business is well structured. You should have your, even if you're small, you should have some form of accountability structure that speaks to the fact that you're well versed in what you're doing and you know what you're supposed to be doing. So
yeah, interesting. And there's an interesting move from the government, I believe now, announced by Credit Corps, where they're linking or they're planning to come up with a unified national credit system that links individuals or links their credit profile to their NINs. What do you make of that move?
I think that would be good. Let's see how that takes us, because the traditional credit scores hasn't really helped that much, because it's not at the grassroots. The MSMEs, you don't have most of them. When we lend to SMEs, most lenders don't report that to the credit system, so we don't have those data. So this move might probably just would probably alleviate some of the stress that we go through in that regards.
Right.
So I think it's a welcome development.
And do you see there being any real consequences for defaulters with this proposed system, right? All your information across board, across fintechs, banks, it's all going to be there. Do you see there being any real consequences attached to deter MSMEs and individuals from defaulting?
The question is, how robust would that be? I think that's my concern. How robust would that be? If it is robust, certainly there will be consequences. But if it is not robust, there will not be consequences. The current system that we have, where people assess credit, but the lenders themselves don't even share it with the credit assessment groups. How do you get your data right? If you don't have data, adequate data, how robust is the data going to be? If the data is robust, then that's fine. But if it is not robust, we probably will have the same set of problems that we have.
Hopefully it is robust, as you have pointed out. But give us a picture of how loan defaults are impacting MSMEs and the entire credit ecosystem here in Nigeria. We know in other climes it's easier to access credit, but here, how is that constant loan default by MSMEs and individuals affecting Nigeria's credit ecosystem and even the larger economy as a result?
It discourages lenders. If we avail credit and people are not paying back, then we are discouraged to start with. And then on the other part, you will look at why are they defaulting. Lenders also have their own fault, because sometimes we avail loan without actually assessing the credibility of these borrowers or even their capability and their capacity to repay. When these things are not put in place, it affects. And then what happens is interest rates start going up. When people start defaulting, then if we're going to lend, it has to be at a higher interest rate.
Because of the risk.
So because the risk is now high, and nobody wants bad loan on their portfolio. If loans start going bad, it discourages lenders from lending, and then the other impact will be that interest rates will start going up. And then other very strict lending terms, just to deter or to guard against default.
So at the moment, and obviously we're hoping that in the future we'll see, more robust technology deployed, especially with the connection of NINs to your national credit system and credit score. Right now, how are lenders approaching this? How are they deploying technology to assess an MSME or an individual's creditworthiness?
Well, I wouldn't say we're even deploying technology, but as it stands, you can only assess creditworthiness if you're not going through the credit scores and all that, through checking their statements. And then, of course, some have gone through, well, even social media. Your discussions on social media are now being monitored. What you do on social media can also work against you, because if you're the type that is not paying, and then lenders check your social media platforms and you're there, you know, throwing parties and all that, that could even deter any lender from
That's something they do.
Yeah, it is. It would deter them from lending to you. So I think that, and then, of course, statement of accounts, their transactions. So even some of these apps that they use, what lenders would do is to monitor what is your statement. And then I think another thing that most lenders are doing is to also assess the rate at which you pay your bills on time. If you don't pay your bills on a timely basis, that also can affect your creditworthiness.
And as far as affecting your creditworthiness, right now, what are some of the consequences attached to default? At the moment, how are lenders approaching perhaps consequences to any defaults?
I wouldn't say that we have much consequences. The police isn't helping out, and our court system is so slow and expensive too. So I think that there really are no consequences, because in the first place, we're not talking about huge sums. If we're talking about large corporations, where you're talking of multi-billion naira transactions, then you could go to court. It will be worth it. But if you're talking about just 100,000 naira, 200,000 naira, would you be going to court for that kind of? You wouldn't, okay?
Yes.
So I think the first thing we need to do or look at is to ensure that we assess such businesses very well. Let your risk assessment be in-depth. Check what they have done, their statement of account, the business, analyze the business, check what kind of accountability structure that they have, what kind of system do they have in place. So that is the best way to deter and stop or mitigate the risk of default.
Let's come to the regulators now. What would you say is the role of CBN approved credit bureaus, right, to sort of filter out loan applicants? What's the CBN's role in all of this?
I wouldn't say it's much, because if you look at our credit bureaus, do they have the robustness that we're looking for in credit analysis? No, they don't. So I think what the CBN can do, or other regulatory body, is to ensure that they probably pass a law that ensures that when you avail credit to any business, you should report it. If it becomes mandatory that you report any loan you avail to any person, then maybe we'll start having a robust credit system that, you know, has the data that we can rely on. But for now, I don't think CBN is doing much to deter people from defaulting, because the credit system isn't just working as it should.
What do you think they should do? What do you recommend that
there should be
does?
A regulation that says, or policy that states that when you avail credit, then you must report it to the credit bureaus. It must be captured. If those data are properly captured, then if I want to lend, my organization wants to lend to a particular person, I could go to the credit bureau and say, what is the creditworthiness of this customer? Then I can have a good data to work with. But as it stands right now, the credit bureaus don't have that detailed and robust data with which we can assess customers. So there has to be a regulation that actually stipulates that when you lend to people or lend to businesses, it must be properly captured. If those regulations are in place, then we can start talking about having a robust credit system.
Interesting. And obviously that is in the pipeline. From what we hear from Credit Corps, they're saying that there's going to be a unified national credit system, And they're attaching consequences. Now, I'll be interested to get your perspective on the consequences. They're saying that this will influence access to non-financial services, the ability to renew passports, driver's license, and even rent. So what do you make of this as consequences for defaulting under that system?
That would be very, very great. You see, if we have a system that captures all this and ensures that if you default on your loan, there are consequences, you probably will be flagged. If you want to go rent a house, that is flagged. You want to go open a bank account, your name is flagged. I mean, people start learning to make repayments on whatever loan they have been availed. But without consequences, people will do whatever it is that they like. They'll go from one loan app to another, just taking loan indiscriminately and no consequences. But when people know that if I borrow and I don't pay back, there are going to be consequences, then everybody will sit up.
Would you say it's a culture, right, where there's this handouts mentality in Nigeria?
It is a culture.
And when it comes to financial literacy, what do you think needs to be done, right, to uproot that culture when it comes to loan defaults, knowing that it's not free money, right?
So MFIs need to actually talk and educate their customers. We need to talk to our customers and let them know consequences of, it's not just about taking money. Are you applying for the reason for which that money was given to you in the first place? That's number one. And when you make profit, are you reinvesting the profit you're making from your business transactions? People need to be educated. MFIs need to make a good job out of educating their customers. So when we educate our customers and let them know that, look, one, when we avail fund to you, the fund has to be paid back at the right time. And you need to be committed. There has to be accountability. And for you to be able to make repayment, you need to have structures that ensure that you're accountable and that when payments are due, you make those payments. Those are some of the things that will help make your credit score or your credit viability very good.
And finally, for every MSME seeking to get a loan, what would you recommend, aside from what you just listed, right, as top 3 habits, right? You want to get a loan. What should you look at, and what should be your personal habits as an MSME or even an individual, right, before you apply for a loan?
1, maybe financial literacy. Then 2 will be accountability. You can't overemphasize that. Then structures, I think, because you need to know I'm starting a business, I'm in a business. What are the things I need to do? What are the systems I need to put in place? Then you have to have integrity. Integrity is also very, very, very important. If you don't have integrity, there's no way you survive in a business climate as unforgiving as what you have in Nigeria, because people need to trust you to be able to deal with you. If you don't have that integrity, nobody's going to deal with you. And you need to be accountable. That's the only way you can make it.
Thank you very much for your time,
Thank
Shay
you so much for having me.
A pleasure.